Welcome back on this roller coaster of our kidding season at the worst part of winter. This episode is subtitled Rejection and Loss. It's the hardest topic to talk about, but it's one that we want to share our experiences with because we know that there are other homesteaders who are experienced or brand new, or farmers who are experiencing these things for the first time. And I'm taking you back as a continuation of last time. We were ending a very long day. It was almost 11 o'clock at night. I thought I could finally lay down for the first time in a 48-hour period, and I heard grunting on the baby monitor. It sounded something like this. Soraya says it's too cheesy that homesteaders don't talk through things, but they do all the time. Danielle from Wait and Reap, she pans her camera over and talks to the camera. That's a thing. Where were you?
On the futon.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be in bed, but not. I was getting ready to lay on the couch because we had one mom in the tote here in our living room and a bottle baby. I was kind of worried with how the cats were going to be with the bottle baby in the hamper. Oh, and we brought one that was cold at this point. So we had two babies in the hamper and a laboring mom that was struggling, but she was also tired. Oh, shoot, I think that's a mom pushing. Something like that. Did you hear that from upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did you hear?
I heard you being really stressed, and so I came downstairs and looked at the monitor, a Delilah grunting. So yeah, I knew that there was gonna be babies.
Okay, so I wrapped up. The first baby was little black with some brown, and we named her Tillamook because our family loves Tillamook ice cream. If you've seen that episode of Meeting Our Family, we call her Tilly. Okay, and then, so I bring a baby that's wrapped in a towel. And what did you do?
I dried it with my hair dryer because she doesn't have one.
Was she vocal and energetic, just small?
Well, she was bleating a little. But she didn't really care. She was calm. And once I dried her, I put her with Pippin and Buttercup.
Mama number 5 in less than 2 days. She pushed out one. It's in the house getting dried because it's 16 degrees in the barn. It's a terrible night to have kids. It's okay. It's okay, Delilah. Okay, there's something there. Come on. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh, you poor thing. I can't tell what it is. You're in a good position, baby. You poor thing. There it is. Come on. Yes. We got something out. Where are you? I stopped recording so that I could give her my full attention and check in with my daughter about the baby that was being dried indoors. So the second baby is this skinny guy. He was skin and bones. We named him Lazarus because he was practically dead to us. He was hardly moving, not making any noise, not squirming very much, and definitely couldn't stand on his own. And the first sister that was born is closest to his size. The third one is this giant, and she came out pretty dang fast after the second one. So when they came out, I called to my daughter on the baby monitor to come and get them in a towel and run them inside and be blow drying them too. Delilah had no interest in sniffing them, talking to them, licking them, or anything at this point. I call on the monitor for somebody to come get 2 more babies, right?
I brought a towel, and she wrapped 2 babies, and so it was kind of like a bag. So I was just like running with 2 babies, and when I was drying them off, when I reached the house, I was like, "What? Look at the size difference!" Lazarus, he was so small. Yeah, that's why we named him Lazarus, because I didn't really think that he was gonna make it.
Like the fluid was very dark yellow, greenish yellow. I could tell he'd pooped in his fluid at a minimum. And I thought he was gonna die. Like, he was not lively at all. And then, so what was he like for you when you tried drying him?
He couldn't stand, and he was not making any noise. So it was sad.
Well, we held him and rubbed him and tried cleaning him off. And I think we named him Lazarus right in that moment, right? So we now had 3 babies from Delilah born in the coldest night. 1 that came in really cold from Missy, and 1 named Pippin who came in cold from Eve. We wanted to try getting these babies back to their moms.
But as soon as I stepped out the door into the cold, they just started going off.
Hey, we're gonna see whose moms accept ya. Oh my goodness, I think he found it by himself finally. Good job, Eve. Did he find it, or is he nursing on your leg?
I think he's nursing. On the teeth. Not the leg.
Good job, yay! Delilah had no mothering instinct at all. By how she acted, she may as well have delivered 3 large turds. Dilly, what are you doing? Oh, going pee. Okay.
Back, I was coming down the hill that's between us and our neighbor, and the tires caught one of the drifts, and I basically, the truck lost control and spun and ended up perpendicular to the road. So I had to get out and dig by hand. I had cat litter in the back of the truck, so I pulled out one of those bags and opened it up and put it where all 4 tires would need to roll so that they could get some grip, and was able to get out and get moving again.
Another trick we did for the barn was you stapled something outside the doors.
Yeah, it was super ghetto, putting the garbage bags over all the doors to impede that airflow was helpful.
Please forgive the sound of my voice. I am at the end of a cold, but this video needs to be finished, and I guess it's kind of fitting that I sound pathetic when we're sharing the saddest part of the story. At one point, we actually had brought in 2 different babies of Missy's that were cold. She's the one that had quintuplets, and we named this one Cow or Moo, depending on who you ask, because he has that white face. I'm going to first remind you that we don't know everything. We are still new to this. I've seen babies rejected enough by homesteaders that I had this pressure to get the babies back to their moms as soon as possible, because I felt if the moms were caring for them, they had the best chance of thriving. And taking care of 1 million bottle babies does not sound fun. Saying that, I know that if we allowed Buttercup to stay a bottle baby, she would have still been alive today. She was accepted by her mother, as you saw in the video, but later she was found cold and dead. 2 hours after I had checked, my husband found her passed away. Cow was returned and he did fine. Pippin was also brought back in, as you've seen, and we ended up taking him to the vet on Saturday, and that's when I learned we took him in with Zinnia, and I'm going to finish Zinnia's story in a minute. But that's when the vet told me that we could put honey in his bottle, because he was doing these random shakes once in a while, and that's when he was like, okay, it's probably his blood sugar. He's probably putting so much energy into staying warm that he doesn't have the strength to really do much else. And so we started putting honey in his bottles, and he actually did much better. That was probably the same with Buttercup. She was probably struggling to maintain her body temperature on her own and have the strength to fight for a teat. So looking back, that's what I would change. I would keep the babies in if it was too cold for them to maintain their body temperature. Going out to mom for visits to maintain that nursing in the brain, like that ability and that drive to suck on the teat, and for the mom to maintain a relationship. The temperatures were going to warm up. She could have been an indoor goat, and we still possibly could have returned her outside at that point. Hindsight is 2020. This loss was the hardest because the kids grew attached when she was inside. They named her, and she was thriving indoors. And we already chose her as a goat that we were going to be keeping. So that loss hit us extremely hard. Many tears were shed, and it was a very difficult lesson for all of us. Okay, so the other loss. Zinnia had been laboring long enough that I knew something was not right. I had been on the phone with the vet off and on for these few days. The problem is she never felt fully open, and she never truly acted like she was in the end stage of labor. Anytime she was pushing, she would stop for long periods. So I think it was Saturday morning, some placenta had come out, and that's when I realized something is going on. In humans, there's a condition called placenta previa. If the placenta is at the bottom of the uterus, right over the cervix, then because we are upright creatures, those problems start showing themselves. The mother will usually start bleeding, and the ultrasound will reveal that that's what's going on. And the women that have this condition usually get put on bed rest to keep weight off the placenta. And they know if it doesn't move, this will usually end in C-section. Obviously, the placenta is the life source for the baby. And if that comes out before the baby is going to start suffocating. So some placenta had come out. It looked like it, but I wasn't sure. It wasn't one large mass like I'm used to seeing. My guess is, again, hindsight, that as she was contracting, as her body was attempting to dilate, it was breaking up the placenta. So we don't know at what point this baby did end up dying. Eventually, I finally saw her trying a push, and there was something there.
and a baby finally was at the opening. I had seen enough stillborn babies on YouTube that I know they usually need pulled. They usually aren't working their way through the birth canal. The mom usually needs help. One hoof and the head were out enough. I called the vet because I couldn't remember if you could pull with just one hoof. So I'm going to tell you now that is the case. If you also are faced with this situation, if the head has passed through the pelvis, you can pull one hoof, the head will come with it. That's what the vet said. I'm so grateful he was there for me to call multiple times and walked me through these things. We pulled the baby out and he was dead. I did try even performing CPR. We have an emergency kit that has the ability for you to perform on infants, and you never have to come into contact with the nose and mouth. So I tried doing that. I knew it was like very slim odds. I still didn't know if there was some placenta that had been giving him life in Zinnia or if it all passed. After the fact, hours went by, no more placenta came, no more baby was working its way out the birth canal. In a previous ultrasound, we thought we saw 2 babies. So at this point, I really wanted her to see a vet. He has seen, thousands more scenarios than I have. He was not confident there was another baby in there, couldn't feel it like through the belly and stuff. And he also didn't think much placenta was left, but couldn't know for sure. And so he did give her an injection that would help the uterus empty itself of anything that was left behind. He took her home. She did act uncomfortable with, more contractions, and I expected more placenta and stuff to come out. It never happened. Yes, there's that beautiful hindsight again. In the future, if I ever see a placenta come out before a baby, I'm going to go right in and try to get that baby out. Zinnia's colostrum ended up being of great assistance. Lazarus was so weak, I honestly wonder if he would have died without that extra colostrum we could get access to from Zinnia. And the milk that came in later is still nourishing them. At the time of making this video, they are all almost 6 weeks old. And so, yes, that's what we went through. We lost one stillborn. We lost one to the cold. And it's been a difficult journey, but it's important to share the hard stuff and not just the highlights and what we could have done differently, what we wish we did, but also I give myself some grace on the placenta issue with Zinnia. That's one of those things you cannot know until it's too late. Please share experiences of any rare cases that you faced that you wish you had known before you were dealing with that with your goats, so that the rest of us can learn. We hear about the common issues so much. We don't hear about the rare things enough so that when they come, we'll know what to do.
Hi, Missy. Are your babies being brave? Raising 4 babies. You're doing such a good job. You want to yell about it over there? Hi. Hi. Why is she yelling? I think they're jealous or they think they're starving, but they have a bag of hay that they aren't touching. They just want grain. Hi. You want to come out? You want to stay in? Zinnia, come on.
Do you see it? I wanted to put it in the sun. There you go. Good girl. Okay, go ahead.
Come on, mate. Oh, easy.